The strategic importance of the Indo-Pacific region has increased immensely in today's global geopolitics as the world's busiest shipping lanes pass through this region. A significant portion of global trade moves through the Indian Ocean and the Pacific Ocean. The Indo-Pacific region not only plays a vital role in the energy security of many countries, but also plays a central role in the global supply chains of semiconductors. That is why the world's major powers are increasing their presence in the Indo-Pacific region. India is also rapidly increasing its engagement in the region. Last month, the Prime Ministers of Vietnam and Malaysia visited India. Additionally, last month, the President of India visited Fiji and New Zealand. This month, the Prime Minister of India visited two Southeast Asian countries, Brunei and Singapore. And next month, the Prime Minister is set to visit Laos. These high-level visits clearly indicate that India is expanding its outreach in the Indo-Pacific region. Southeast Asia is an integral part of the Indo-Pacific region. Southeast Asian countries like Indonesia, Malaysia, and Singapore are important players in the region. Located at the crossroads of the Indian Ocean and the Pacific Ocean, these countries play a pivotal role in global shipping and semiconductor supply chains. In this video, we will explore India's semiconductor diplomacy, discuss the transition from the era of oil diplomacy to silicon diplomacy, and examine how India is advancing toward becoming a semiconductor hub. So, let's discuss these points.
Every country sets certain geopolitical and economic goals for itself. Policies are formulated according to these goals, and partnerships are formed with other countries. India too is moving forward with the goal of becoming an economic powerhouse and a major player in global geopolitics. One part of this larger goal is to become a key player in the global semiconductor supply chain, as semiconductors are the building blocks of today's information age. Pick up any electronic device and you will find semiconductor chips in it. From smartphones, computers, and automobiles to medical devices, solar cells, satellite systems, and even AI servers and defense technology, semiconductor chips are used everywhere. It wouldn't be wrong to say that advanced digital technologies would not exist without semiconductor chips. That is why semiconductors are crucial in today's digital age. Therefore, India is working towards developing its semiconductor ecosystem. To become a global semiconductor hub, India is not only increasing domestic semiconductor manufacturing, but also strengthening partnerships with countries like Malaysia, Singapore, Taiwan, Vietnam, and Japan. This is India's semiconductor diplomacy. Under this, incentives are being provided to semiconductor manufacturing companies to invest in India. The semiconductor industry is being supported by building the necessary infrastructure, a skilled workforce is being developed in the semiconductor sector, collaboration is being fostered with other countries in semiconductor research, development, and manufacturing, and efforts are being made to create a resilient semiconductor supply chain.
In this direction, the Semicon India conference was also organized, in which experts and companies from the semiconductor industry worldwide participated. In this conference, India was positioned as a reliable and attractive destination for semiconductor investments. India has already secured investments worth more than 1.5 lakh crore in the semiconductor sector. We are moving ahead with a very ambitious goal. Our aim is that, in the future, India should play a leading role in the global semiconductor supply chain, and every electronic device manufactured in the world should have an Indian-made semiconductor chip installed in it. India wants to strengthen semiconductor supply chains so that we can better handle the disruptions caused by global shocks like COVID-19. The process of mitigating potential risks and vulnerabilities is called de-risking. De-risking of global supply chains is extremely important in today's complex and uncertain geopolitical climate. India is trying to tap into the global semiconductor market, which is expected to be worth more than $1.2 trillion by 2030. Many multinational companies are shifting their production out of China due to various issues. India has a significant opportunity here by creating an ecosystem where those companies find it lucrative to set up production in India. Currently, More than three-fourths of the semiconductor manufacturing capacity is concentrated in the East Asia region, mainly Taiwan, China, South Korea, and Japan. So, if India improves its capabilities, it can convince the global semiconductor giants that setting up semiconductor manufacturing in India is a good option. And if they are thinking about diversifying semiconductor supply chains, India will prove to be a good alternative.
India is also striving to become an attractive alternative destination for semiconductor manufacturing. India's semiconductor diplomacy is at the center of its Act East policy. India is strengthening its ties with key semiconductor players in the Asia-Pacific region. It is entering into partnerships with major semiconductor players such as the US, Japan, Taiwan, South Korea, and Singapore to boost its semiconductor manufacturing capabilities through technology transfers, investments, and collaborations. For example, India's Tata Group is going to set up a semiconductor plant in Gujarat in partnership with Taiwan. Now that PM Modi has visited Singapore, let's discuss that example as well. During this visit, India has elevated its bilateral ties with Singapore into a comprehensive strategic partnership. And an MOU has been signed in the semiconductor sector. Nearly 10% of the global semiconductor output comes from Singapore alone. Singapore has attracted top global semiconductor firms due to the availability of necessary infrastructure, better connectivity, and stable business conditions. These firms have set up their businesses here. Singapore has become an attractive hub for semiconductor manufacturing and distribution due to its strategic location, economic strength, skilled workforce, and early mover advantage. The Singapore government has invested significantly in research and development in semiconductor technology. So by collaborating with Singapore, India will gain many benefits, such as technology transfer, talent development, knowledge sharing, joint research and development, and supply chain integration.
Although India has entered the semiconductor sector quite late, it is trying to catch up quickly. Production-linked incentive schemes are being introduced in the semiconductor sector by the Indian government. A national semiconductor mission has been launched to develop a self-reliant semiconductor ecosystem in the country. India can also take advantage of technological exchanges by increasing engagement with the ASEAN grouping and forums like the East Asia Summit. India is already collaborating with the US, Japan, and Australia under the Quadrilateral Security Dialogue. Australia has an abundant supply of raw materials needed for semiconductor manufacturing, while the US and Japan have advanced technology. The four countries are working together to build secure and resilient supply chains in critical technologies. This is the goal of the Quad Semiconductor Supply Chain Initiative. India can leverage Quad for capacity building. After energy imports, electronic items are among the most imported products. So, if we increase domestic production of semiconductors, we can save precious forest reserves by reducing our imports. That is why semiconductor diplomacy is one of the top priorities in India's policy today.
Not just India, but the entire world is moving from the era of oil diplomacy towards silicon diplomacy today. Silicon diplomacy means promoting national interests by strategically using technology, building relationships with other countries, and increasing influence. Since the semiconductor industry plays a vital role in technology and innovation, and the main component of semiconductors is silicon, this approach has been named silicon diplomacy. Under silicon diplomacy, we are witnessing the integration of technology and innovation into the foreign policy of countries. There is a noticeable shift in geopolitical competition from controlling oil resources to controlling technological resources. The demand for high-tech resources like semiconductors has increased tremendously. Today, controlling semiconductor supply chains is crucial for national security and technological dominance. Semiconductor chips are essential in modern defense systems, making access to them vital for national security. While oil shaped the 20th century world, semiconductors are now shaping the global economy and geopolitics in the 21st century. Technology and innovation are the drivers of growth today, leading countries to compete to secure access to cutting-edge semiconductor technology. The tech war between the US and China is an example of this. For more information, read Mr. Chris Miller's book, Chip War.
In the times to come, technological leadership will determine global power and influence. That is why we are transitioning from oil diplomacy to silicon diplomacy. Even the energy sector is also becoming technology driven now. We are moving towards renewable energy, with semiconductors being used in electric vehicles, smart grids, and renewable energy systems. The use of cutting edge technologies like artificial intelligence, 5G, and the Internet of Things is not a matter of the future. Automation driven by these technologies is today's reality. These technologies are quickly integrating into our daily lives, industries, and global systems, and they are all highly dependent on semiconductors. To summarize, controlling semiconductor supply chains equals technological advancement, which in turn equals global influence.